Hey, how you doing, guys? Of course, I've been reporting lately on Apple's release of Final Cut Pro 10, Motion, and Compressor. While all this is good news, well, there's actually might be one more. Apple also released their Pro Video Codecs updated to 607. But there is some unfortunate news as well. It's not always good news, but they actually also did a small release, not exactly press release, but where they're talking about not supporting legacy media. And while some codexes will continue to work with Mojave, but legacy codecs won't work with possible future macOS updates. So this also includes Sony's HDCam-SR cameras, Cineform from GoPro cameras, and Avid's DNxHD and DNxHR formats. Now, and I'm unhappy with this in a couple of ways. For instance, Cineform is actually now open source by GoPro cameras, and in fact, it's that new codec has been imported into DaVinci Resolve. So I believe they need to support open formats, which Apple has supported before, not just their own codexes like Apple ProRes. And Avid DNxHD and also DNxHR are considered standards, even though they're with Avid. Like I said, Apple has their own standard that's also supported in different video editing software, like Apple's, of course, ProRes, which I just talked about a little earlier. So I believe it's important that they support these certain types of legacy formats, and it's kind of weird because even with DV and HDV, which is supported, it's kind of a weird choice on which they decide to support and not support. So what can you do if you're a video editor or a content creator such as myself? And luckily, I do have two Canon cameras. One runs a codec of AVCHD, which is continued to be supported, as well as MXF. And they actually added some new codecs as far as even in compressor where it can export out. But still, what about people whose older cameras or codecs may not work? There still may be workarounds for this. It may be probably still possible to re-encode it in another codec or format that's going to be to allow you to import it into Final Cut Pro 10 or even compressor or whatever. Of course, doing so every time you re-encode those codexes, they degrade the quality, which I'm not happy about as well. It may be possible just to change the container file and leave the video file encoded without having to mess with it. That might be possible as well. Now, there actually might be another way too, because I know Apple puts out an API for its Final Cut Pro that allows camera companies to make plugins. In fact, they did that with my Canon MXF camera, or it was actually XF 100, and it would natively import it into Final Cut Pro 10. So to be able to get it to work, Canon came up with a plugin, and you install it and it will allow it to install into Final Cut Pro 10. Now, eventually, Apple did support MXF, and it does it natively now. So that might be hopefully still an option. I think Apple still has their API for it. So that may be a possibility as well. While I can see reasons why not supporting many older legacy formats, I do think some are, especially open standard ones, or are a standard across the board, even though there may be camera specific or even video editor specific other than Final Cut Pro. I think we need to maintain compatibility. So tell me guys what you think on this news, and hopefully you guys won't be affected. But thanks for watching, and see you guys later.